Hey, what is up, Twitch? I'm back and awake this time for a quick reaction to one of the shows that I missed, the Tribeca Games Spotlight Digital Showcase at E3 2021. I was a little out of it last night when I did Devolver Digital and Gearbox. Realized I so out of it. I did it at 3 a.m. I didn't even have the sound on for Gearbox, so that's great. But I'm up. I'm ready. I'm going to double check the sound. And I'm good to go. So I'm playing the video of the Tribeca Games Spotlight Digital Showcase. It's about an hour long. A little bit less, like 40 minutes long. Let's I'm gonna grab a water and then we're gonna dive in. All right, here we are. So let's get started. Here we go. We got 1 minute. I can just boop boop. Honestly, I got no idea what to expect during the show. I recognized one thing on there. So let's just give it a watch and see what we got. All right, games. Let's see what games we got.
Video games are a remarkable
Reggie.
way to both tell and experience stories.
They invite you to enter worlds of action,
Elijah Wood.
fantasy, terror, and wonder.
Not just a member of the audience, but an active participant.
They are stories that are shaped not only by the visions of their creators,
but by the choices you make as they unfold.
They are changed by you,
just as you were changed by them.
This year, for the
first time,
Tribeca has selected 8 games.
We hope they offer you
8 games
into the ingenuity and artistic scope
that games have to offer the world,
and why they belong at the forefront of our conversations about storytelling,
both now and in the future.
Well, I see Sable again. That would be the third time we've seen Sable.
Are often about the
hey,
deepest
Guillermo.
Anxieties made real in the form of ghosts, ghouls, and demons. But in the survival horror game Signalis, the true horror lies not in the shambling monsters you find lurking in a subterranean bunker or an alien planet, but in what lies beyond the limits of human comprehension. Revelations so dreadfully that it can shatter the mind. This is the cosmic horror of Signalis.
And Guillermo del Toro knows that. Guillermo del Toro understands Eldritch horror. He's been trying to make On the Mountains of Madness movie for years. They need to let him make it already. Oh, looks like my computer crashed. Never mind. Wake up. I'm up. We got it. Feels like it's calling to me. Penrose. Repair spray. Yeah, this is a slow unease. Which has always been a different kind of horror. You'll regret this later. What is that? Just... I've been waiting for this for a long time. The ship has crashed in an icy landscape. What was that creature? It had no arms, no legs, just a long head. But I had like sleepwalking in a half-remembered dream. Remember our promise. Violent scene missing. A staircase of sorts descending down a pit. Compartmentalizing trauma. This God won't forgive you. Signalis.
Kena Bridge of Spirits is a rich, compelling tale of fantasy and adventure with themes of trauma and loss of forgiveness. And yes, it's full of fast-paced action and breathless battles with supernatural foes, but the first thing that hits you when you see it is the beauty of a debut game from a small but passionate team at Ember Labs, and how the stunning animation of its lush, magical world pulls you into a journey of a spirit guide trying to save a village haunted by restless souls. But why not let you see it for yourself? Here's our next official selection, Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Yeah. Looking forward to this for a minute. Ever since they first showed it, the little creatures that follow him are adorable.
Feel the energy of the mountain. Draw on its power.
Cool. Couple of little kids, the little spirits. That is so pretty.
Ember Lab is a really small studio. We have a background in film and animation. We got our start doing visual effects for films. And then from there we grew into doing a lot of animated work for commercials. In between commercial projects, we would always siphon off some time to learn new things and be a little creative.
Oh, that's right. They did the Majora's Mask video for YouTube.
And we wanted to throw our hat into the ring with our first project, Kena.
Something tells me you did not come to our village looking for forest creatures.
Hello, Spirit.
This is beautiful.
I seek passage to the sacred mountain shrine.
We've been playing games our whole lives together as brothers, and the action adventure games are sort of what we play together and we also enjoy. Yeah. We kind of had this idea of the rot being a kind of a force of nature that was maybe working against.
I was about to say they look like rot and fungal.
And then I kind of had the thought to flip it, where the rot become your companions.
You turn rot and mushrooms into your companions. That's what they are. Again, they have the little mushrooms on their head.
We kind of like found that we had something kind of unique. Opened up a lot of cool mechanics, especially with the puzzles in the game.
So it's a Pikmin-esque elements to it. What?
You know, with film, you can just put the camera where you want it. You can tell. You have complete control over what they're seeing, when they're seeing it, how they're seeing it. And in games, all that goes out the window. So communicating ideas or themes to the player is a lot more difficult. We found.
Yeah. Makes sense. You can't control what the player's looking at, what the player is going to do next, so it's harder to translate to a proper story.
You have to be really sort of crafty in how you're getting communication to the player, especially when it's trying to do it through gameplay, and not just like always through cutscene.
One of Tara's memories. I should see where it leads me.
We love creating immersive experiences, and we try to really think about atmosphere and tone a lot when we're on the game development side.
The storytelling and atmosphere is a big part of our traditional medium in terms of film aesthetics.
Everything's
just having the world be something you want to sit down and explore and be a part of was a goal of ours from the beginning.
So you're altering the color of the world. Probably the rot is
having a nice
corrupting
team
the world.
Really great animators who have worked together, I think, was paramount in terms of pulling off some of the storytelling we want to do with the game. We're actually making like a 45-minute animated movie inside of a game.
Hi.
We're really proud of the team. A lot of them come from the visual effects and animation background and kind of like converted their skill sets from the film and animation background into developers on the game side.
Yeah, it looks... Oh, that's a kappa. That's their take on a kappa. I see it has the little bowl on the head. The dip, yeah.
During the process of making the game, we also were introduced to a musical group called Sudamani. And we actually, Jason and myself went over to Bali to do recording for the soundtrack.
That is cool.
One of the things that's grown out of that relationship is Dewa is the composer, but his daughter Ayu is actually the voice of Kana.
My name's Kana. What are you two doing out here?
She's never done any voice acting, but she fit right in.
It's okay. You have to go now.
They kind of focused on those veins, and they're kind of glowing now.
Something that we would see the trailer.
It's interesting.
That game was awesome. So as difficult as it has been, it's also very rewarding because it's like something that we were very proud of.
Yeah, good for these guys. This is their first game, and it already has such hype around it. Oh my god.
The path of a spirit guide is a lonely one.
I'm still looking forward to it. No.
It's a uniquely American storytelling tradition, blending magical realism with dark tales of decay in the American South. Norco adds a dash of sci-fi to the Southern Gothic stew, weaving cyborgs and artificial intelligence into pixelated Louisiana landscapes, where the sun sets heavy and orange over the swamps, and oil refineries blaze like torches in the night. It is a place where people, memories, and secrets have a way of getting lost and buried. Dig them up if you dare, in the haunting and extraordinary adventure that is Norco.
Norco. Oh, a cross between, like, the bayou, a burning water, and a bleak cityscape. from Raw Fury.
That's
We've seen
handful
a bunch of stuff from them yesterday.
artists and musicians making output that is largely centered around the American South and the psychogeography of the American South.
A lot of storms, but a rich, vibrant culture.
Our first release is a game called Norco, which is about my hometown of Norco, Louisiana. A small, very industrialized town about 25 miles upriver from New Orleans. There's so many intersecting pieces of infrastructure.
Look at that. That's just
So many stories.
bursting flame.
Landscape. I've been fascinated with that region since I was a kid.
I mean, it's where you grew up, so it makes sense.
I wanted to synthesize all of those research interests into something, and Norco is that culmination of effort.
All right. A memorial of Detrius languishes in the river mud. The cross, the 2x4 cross. Fake news. Oh,
It draws from both reality and certain sci-fi tropes. To explore little air pockets of the surreal within the reality of the game.
a card reader inside the face of a Virgin Mary.
In this sort of adventure game, point and click genre, is that we've got just decades and decades of iteration to build on within this genre, going back to the old Lucas games, Monkey Island and such.
Yeah, the old point and click adventure.
The necessary mechanics.
I like the old Monkey Islands. I mean, I even like the newest Monkey Island, the one that Telltale did, I think. But yeah, it's been a...
I was interrogating
no clue what's going on.
Events and experiences from the past. I was playing a lot of 2D pixel art games at the time. A lot of traumatic events had occurred both in my personal life and the life of the region that I was exploring, and I thought there was a kind of hauntological element to using pixel art to tell those stories.
Ontological.
I don't have any artistic experience, and so doing
It does look
simple
a little
2D
off-putting.
pixel art game fit the best within my limited resources that I had.
In the more recent years, big and small studios have really been pushing what it means for player agency to take a front seat in a semi-linear narrative.
It has been an interesting journey, pushing the boundaries of the medium and kind of forcing it into this more complex, uncomfortable future.
Yeah, it feels a little awkward and uncomfortable, but it seems to be that's what they're going for. It's trying to create a sense of unease.
Handmade adventure game Harold Halibut, a spaceship full of people fleeing the Cold War crash lands in an alien ocean, where the sunken ship becomes a city that's forever stuck in the 1970s. And when I say handmade adventure game, I mean that in a very physical, tangible way. Every set, every character, every floorboard, and every coffee cup has been meticulously handcrafted from wood, clay, cloth, and metal to bring this gorgeous world to life.
What?
Pleased to introduce the stop-motion adventure, Harold Halibut.
Harold Halibut. It does kind of resemble the ball and socket armature characters of that one episode of Community. That's so different.
Tiny interdisciplinary game studio.
See, I said it in one of the other things that I did recently. Good games will stick with you. Good stories, good characters will stick with you. Good and different art styles will stick with you too.
Sometimes I do wonder what life would have been.
I remember it's a game was shown on the first day called Planet of Lana with a hand-painted background. I saw another hand-painted background. Children of Light is one game that came out years ago, but it sticks with me because of its beautiful and unique and different art style, and I think this might be something like that.
Also, game lovers, we thought that making a game instead of a film to tell a story might be the more approachable endeavor. We quickly realized that the budgeting thing at least wasn't too different from feature-length films, but we were way too deep into the process already when we realized that.
Games are expensive to make. Those all different characters, yeah, different.
Our goal has always been to create a accurate recreation of a stop-motion film, to create a cinematic feel, and our initial approach was quite a lot of experimentation involved until we found our process that we use now, which is 3D scanning everything by using photogrammetry to create 3D models of the characters that we then animate using motion capturing.
That is cool. So they make the 3D models for everything, and 3D scan it in.
Fluidity and also all the options that we have in modern 3D games to light the scenes in a cinematic way and to use camera movement. So it's even.
But it does have that stop motion feel. Maybe that's just the filter that they chose.
And we really liked this mix of the digital world and the analog world.
Are they making a concrete floor? Or a set? Or like a marble? That looks cool.
We've heard a bunch of people questioning why we put such effort into building the sets and the tiny details. Ultimately, we think that's why the game feels the way it does is because of the sum of its parts and that level of detail coming together as like a great.
I mean, yeah, that great level of detail is what has piqued my interest.
Giving the individual characters and Harold's social environment a lot of depth, and that ultimately makes for like a rich experience.
Now, if you're quite ready.
Sure. Ready for what?
I made a breakthrough discovery at the Arboretum last night. Do you remember the last batch of bloomy rocks?
Oh, the really small ones from the last intake? The ones with the strange shapes and the little holes and...
The blue ones, yes. Turns out their surface composition doesn't just give us clues about our immediate aquatic environs. I think they've picked up some influences from outer space as well.
We create a relatable science fiction world.
Oh my god, this looks beautiful. Look how much detail goes into everything. It is beautiful.
Future where things are so different that it might as well be magic.
It may have started with one man, but it took the hearts and minds of many more to make the dream a reality. That dream began at the height of the Cold War, when the world was on the very brink of annihilation. He conceived of an ark-like spacefaring ship. After 200 years, we finally arrived at our destination, only to find that the promising, watery planet contained no habitable landmass and dense toxic gases in the atmosphere.
The Cold War seemed like a good starting point for the backstory of our game, and it enabled us to have this kind of weird mix of being stuck in the 70s on one hand and not living through the things we all
living through the 70s, but in a different environment, in a different sci-fi setting.
Future, the 200 years after that, and creating this kind of alternative
just that the professor and I need some sea rocks. I mean, filter rocks from older times that have come from the filters, and I feel like you might have one.
Okay, look and listen here, Longy Long Pants. I shut the store for a reason, you know?
While we have this overarching storyline in our game with multiple story arcs, Herald is only one part of its bigger story, and we always kind of focus on Harold's personal interactions, relationships and friendships of Harold.
Harold! Good timing. You can explain things to the Major, can't you?
Harold, come here and explain things.
So, Harry, how's life been treating you?
You know, keeping fishy.
What?
You know, keeping busy.
Okay.
Harold.
Is everything okay?
And therefore really concentrated on providing
Is it old school arcade?
characters for players to ultimately explore.
Harold, won't you stay? The jog team won't.
A letter carrier with the letters in his
You can't leave now, I just got
vest.
Jog team, jog team, jog team.
Go jog team.
Come on, Harold. Keep up.
Deep breaths, Harold. You're doing great.
Guys, have you got any tips?
Just keep on moving, Harold. You never know when you'll have to slow down.
Yep.
Keep going while you can.
Yeah, that is so huge.
I'm intrigued. Oh boy. Yep. Stop motion, jazzercise, aerobics.
Setting off across a vast desert on a rite of passage.
Japanese breakfast. We saw they were her singing for Sable.
On your journey to the horizon, you will traverse a world of
And then we saw Sable again during
spectacular ruins, both ancient
the
and futuristic.
Gorilla Showcase.
This is the joy of exploration, the thrill of discovery. And if you listen to the stories of the people and places you encounter, perhaps a chance to learn what you came here to understand. This is Sable.
I mean, like, this is the most shown game then, Sable. We've seen Tiny Tina's Wonderland twice, and Far Cry 6 twice. But I think aside from that, this might be the most shown. And I'll say it what I said the first time I saw it, the second time I saw it. The first time I saw it, it said it was in alpha or pre-alpha.
Shedworks is us. I'm Greg. This is Daniel.
I'll say it again. I like the art style. It looks very intriguing. Very early Miyazaki.
Sable is the main character. She's a young girl who's leaving her home for the first time.
And I like the desert atmosphere. I want to know what the game is going to look like at the end. Is the comic art style of the background, that cartoony, the exaggerated outlines, the very distinct color shift, is that going to be
marks on as the story starts, and it's something that everybody who comes of age in the world of Sable,
a color delineation between each area?
leaving your home behind and experiencing the world, meeting people, trying things, helping folks in need, and ultimately deciding what do I want to devote my life to.
Like, I love the outfit again. I like the simple look of the hover bike.
So much of the people here, the communities here, are defined by their vocation. You know, the desert that they live in is inhospitable, and so they've kind of had to come together and had to form groups around resources. And so Sable kind of goes from place to place, meeting different societies and cultures, built around completely different experiences of the same environment. It means that she has to be a sponge, right? She's trying to figure out her place in the world, what she wants to do.
This girl likes her decorating with
And I
skulls.
think that's what makes the story so fun. It really is about the places that you go, the people that you see, and the experiences that you have that not only shape her gliding, but shape her.
She can like hover, descend, yeah. Oh wow, it looks pretty big.
Daniel's dad went to architecture school together. You know, our lives have kind of crossed a bit in that period. Your mum taught me art at secondary school.
By the time we were at sort of university age, that was when indie games had really kind of taken off as a creative sort of field. I started to think about if there was something that I could make myself.
So there are different styles of hovercraft.
I studied architecture, Daniel studied comparative literature, but neither of us had any experience making games before we started making games.
It is cool looking. I will give it that.
Went to the pub one time and
It's just a pure exploration experience.
had none of these industry direct connections to skills or experience. We thought we'd start our own internship, do our own internship in the shed. The initial thought was just let's get some experience under our belt and see where we go from there. Somehow 6 years or so later, we're here now, still going. Yeah. The thing that we've really tried to focus on is exploration, and we've geared every design
I'm seeing like I'm not seeing combat. I'm not seeing. I saw some communication and dialogue, but
there's no real danger to the player in the game.
Yeah.
It's quite relaxing in a way, but that doesn't make it less curious a world to explore. I don't think.
so the heart of this game is exploration.
Is how lonely it is, and the pace of the game is very laid back.
It was the first game that we designed that was really geared around our skills as well, our backgrounds. We wanted to do something narrative focused, and we had a background in comparative literature. We wanted something architecturally focused, and my background in architecture helped with that. So I think that it's come from us in that way makes it quite unique.
Developing the architecture of a unique landscape, a desert culture.
A number of references and influences, I suppose. I guess some of the most obvious ones are the visual ones, right? Stuff like Mobius or Tintin, or Studio Ghibli.
Studio Ghibli, there we go. Hayao Miyazaki.
Always influential.
Yeah, it does have that mix of ancient and futuristic to our eyes, right?
Yeah.
We live here, but to the eyes of Sable and to everyone in that world, that is all that they know.
We brought Japanese breakfast.
Yeah, it does have an advanced but still old feeling. Because we see this technology destroyed in the desert.
Shaping the direction of the game.
Then Japanese breakfast again. That's cool. Big old face door. Wow. And maybe it's again just because they showed it 3 times, but I'm starting to get a good feeling about it. I will keep an eye on it. It's not at the level of like Kena Bridge of Spirits for me yet, or even Harold Halibut, because they seem more fully fleshed. But I'm intrigued.
In the Gothic fairy tale Lost in Random, the world is divided into 6 shadowy realms, where every citizen's fate is determined by the roll of a cursed die. You play as Even, a young girl who's set out on a quest to save her beloved sister, Odd.
Yeah, we saw
With
this.
a companion, a magical living die named Dicey, you'll find yourself battling your way through a dark wonderland, and if you want to win the game, you'll have to embrace the chaos and find a way to tip the odds in your favor. From the Odd and Even minds of Zoink Games, here is Lost in Random.
We did see a little bit about this. It had that Burton-esque feel. It felt like, yeah, a very Tim Burton. Like, look at that. And I remember the little dice buddy.
It's being developed here at Zoink Games in Gothenburg, Sweden. We're about 80 developers with a few different projects, but Lost in Random is definitely our biggest and most ambitious project ever.
We're known for doing quite narrative-driven games. We really want to make games that speak to people and touch people and make people think. Lost in Random is a 3D action-adventure game set in the gorgeous, gothic fairy tale world of Random. And it tells the tale of
It's literally called Random.
friends Dicey, a living dice with incredible powers.
Even goes on this journey to rescue her sister from the clutches of the Mad Queen, who's obsessed with board games.
And so the Queen decreed that any child who had turned the age of 12 would be given the grand honor of rolling her one true dice to show them their place in the world of random. For random is fair, random prevails, and random rules. Random rules.
Even she's this naive young kid who's just, for the first time, going out into the world to find out who she is.
It's really a story about the randomness of life and conquering the fear of it.
It looks very... I mean, I know I said it, but I can't stop thinking it. It looks so...
Quick to anger, but he's not one to...
Nightmare, so... Beetlejuice, so... I know it wasn't Burton, but Coraline...
Dicey, who is this cute puppy kind of character, his moment to shine is when you're in combat. When Even rolls Dicey, he becomes this kind of Swiss army knife of magical power.
But you can't decide what magical power.
Should be scared of us, right?
We're really in love with this project. It's a great story, it's great actors, it's the innovative gameplay, and it just feels like everything is just so perfectly packaged together around the dice and this universe.
And the style of the game is kind of like something out of a Laika or Tim Burton movie. It's really everything we've dreamt of doing all these years.
What a say.
It's really great, and we can't
What a
wait for
say.
everybody to play it.
I'm intrigued. When, where can I play it on? No.
12 minutes. You
Mr.
play
McAvoy?
becomes trapped in a time loop, replaying the same 12 minutes of one fateful evening in his apartment over and over again. Each time you're going to have the chance to make new choices, learn what led up to those terrible events, and perhaps even escape them. It's a story that's not just about how choices matter, but about how some stories can only truly be told when they can change, even just a little bit, every single time you retell them. It was a joy to participate in this project and lend my voice to the main character, and I hope you have as much fun playing it as I did.
Thanks, young Professor
I'm
X.
proud to introduce a game where the end is only the beginning. 12 minutes.
We did see this is the top-down view of the apartment, right? Yeah.
Surprise for you.
Okay.
You want to guess what it is?
This is an outfit for a newborn. You bought it this morning. You wanted to surprise me.
I'm sorry.
You're pregnant.
You know?
I know because you already gave it to me. This has happened before.
What are you talking about? What's going on?
Someone is coming. He's going to hurt us. He says you killed your father. I need to know what happened.
Why are you doing this? My father died.
Died of a heart attack?
No, I didn't have anything to do with...
Any second now, he's gonna knock on that door.
Time loop.
Help me.
This isn't happening. This can't be happening.
Police, open up.
My name is Luis. I'm the creator of 12 Minutes.
That's such a...
I grew up...
We've seen time loop games before, but that's...
me, and I tried to understand what were they doing. The pacing, the colors, the lighting, the composition, in order to create these emotions in me. What are the tools we have as game designers that allow us to do similar things?
To recreate some of those feelings that are...
We think about a linear progression. And in an interactive game, at least in
the feelings that are put upon us by
at any moment, depending
film.
on what you've done.
What's the occasion?
I'll tell you over dessert.
All right, I'm ready to get wowed by this dessert.
Just give me 1 second.
You know, I'm fascinated by the idea of if you knew what's going to happen, what would you do differently? 12 Minutes is an interactive thriller about a man trapped in a time loop. You come home from work, you're having an evening with your wife, then this cop shows up, he accuses your wife of murder.
Hands behind your back, let's go.
You try to stop him, you get beat up.
Somebody help!
Only to wake up back to the start of the evening. And then you have to use the knowledge of what you know it's going to happen to try to change the outcome and break the loop.
Look, I know this sounds weird, but the day's repeating itself.
What do you mean, repeating itself?
I'm living the same chunk of time over and over again.
Uh-huh.
Like Groundhog Day. Say it's Groundhog Day.
The reason the game sticks to a bird's eye view is because it allows you to very easily interact with the environment. Most video games, you have a third-person camera or a first-person camera, and I wanted to create something that is very accessible. So by doing a bird's eye view, you have like a floor plan of the apartment that you just click where to move. There was also the challenge of having the voices convey the emotions without seeing the faces. If someone is really stressed out, you won't have any facial expressions, so you have to feel the stress in the throat.
Particularly because you don't see our faces in it, you really are projecting whatever you're feeling.
Oh, it's Daisy Ridley.
There's no facial.
So it's James McAvoy and Daisy Ridley. That's...
Where you go in the game will, I think, depend on you as an individual. I just need some time to myself. Come on, babe, please, stop it.
And if there's enough subtlety in the voice acting, in the movement, your brain will fill the rest. Because actors think in terms of motivations. You know, what's my motivation for this scene? And workshopping with them, figuring those things out, allows the characters
Was that Willem Dafoe?
and become meaningful in the way they behave.
Look, I didn't mean to. This is never what I wanted.
No, come on. I warned you.
Look,
That's Willem Dafoe.
It will be different things
That's...
for people.
So it's 3 members of the cast, but it's 3 very well-known, well-established actors.
How you deal with other people's truth.
Working in interactive medium, you can make a story that becomes very personal to you, right? You're not passively looking at what's happening and processing. You're actually deciding. By allowing you to participate, to change it, to mold the way it's built, in a way it becomes part of you. It's like you're part of the creative process that is happening. And because the game doesn't really give you a direction, the decisions you make are based on who you are.
I'll prove it.
Yeah, great. Let's see it. Wow me.
That allows you to explore a side of yourself that maybe you wouldn't otherwise.
Silently repeat these phrases. May you be free from
Oh God,
suffering. May you be free from fear. May you know peace and joy.
James McAvoy. Daisy Ridley, Willem Dafoe. Holy crap.
If you're not familiar with The Big Con, a coming-of-age comedy adventure about a teen in the 1990s, well, let me explain. You play as Allie, a high school junior who learns that her mom is about to lose her video rental store to loan sharks unless they come up with over $90,000 ASAP. Well, there's clearly only one thing you can do. Run away from band camp, head to the mall, and become a con artist. I mean, that's just common sense. From the decade that gave us the World Wide Web and so much plaid, I give you The Big Con.
Oh, those backgrounds are as 90s as you get. All right.
Hey, I'm Dave Proctor from Mighty L Studios, and I am the game director and writer on The Big Con. Mighty L is a company from Toronto.
Was that Melissa Joan Hart, though? It looked like it. I was just...
George Degenkamp, Saffron Aurora, Tabby Rose, Sakrina Diaz, and Yash Kulkarni is our core team. The Big Con is a adventure game where you hustle your way across 90s America as a teenage con artist. But it's all for a good cause. You are trying to save your mom's video store. So you learn to pickpocket, wear disguises, talk your way into and out of trouble.
All right.
Good, not so good cause of making sure your family business stays afloat.
Yeah, you gotta grift it to make it.
You know, one of the toughest things about making this game was selling people on the non-violent crime aspect of it. Games with guns don't bat an eye, but you know, the moment you have to steal an old lady's wallet, people start to think maybe there's something wrong with you, which is fine. That's part of the fun of making this. It really helps us make something that, you know, challenges people and challenges ourselves, and hopefully helps us find a little bit of in between in a story like this.
All right, that's unique and different. Non-violent crime game, non-violent.
And you know, writing a funny and heartfelt story kind of helps justify those actions. So, you know, on the one hand, we get to make a game that we've never seen before, which is a con artist video game, and on the other hand, we get to kind of couch that in a conversation about small businesses surviving, and you know, a story about a mother and a daughter. And between that and the 90s, it really informed like what we...
So one of my big first jobs was I worked at a video store. I worked at Blockbuster, and oh boy, that was a great job. That was such a good job.
She can be rough, she can be sarcastic. This is something that we really wanted to see.
I mean, it was no like West Coast Video, but Blockbuster always had something special. I worked there with my best friend and a bunch of other really cool people.
If it makes us laugh, it goes in the game. That was our rule. Like, we really want you to explore.
It was after high school. We were both in college at the time, but we
random conversations with people that
I worked a few jobs. It was like my 5th or 6th job.
It makes us happy knowing that it's
But all we would do is hop on a good movie and watch a good movie or 5 every day.
It, I think, really builds on the feeling.
As long as it was appropriate for the customer. Oh god, I loved working in that store. It was ridiculous.
They're not as done in video games, so we wanted to do it. We wanted to get in there. The 90s are a time when you don't have cell phones, you don't have the internet, you don't have the ability to look this stuff up if you need to.
It's true, we don't see a lot of 90s themed games. We see a lot of 70s,
You can be a traveling con artist.
50s and 60s, future, modern, but no.
With the 90s means that we also get to do this.
Not a lot of 90s.
That Saffron put together.
I watched a lot of cartoons growing up. Hey Arnold, Doug, and The Simpsons.
I'm getting kind of a Doug feel.
For this cartoon 90s aesthetic, bright contrasting colors, exaggerated features, and like fun geometric patterns. So Ally is a very does what she wants character. She wears her cap backwards. That to me was always the signature look of the cool leader type character that you'd see in a lot of cartoons.
Yeah.
You know, she has the ripped jeans, the baggy t-shirt, and she also wears her plaid shirt wrapped around her waist, which is, you know, a very, I think,
Quintessential 90s style, yeah.
The references from Burblos to music or grunge or you know, what movies were popular and
See, that guy kind of reminded me of Roger Klutz from Doug. The pointy nose, the green skin.
The Big Con is the 90s crime adventure you've been waiting for. What do you think, Rad Ghost?
Winners don't use drugs.
Okay.
I just want to finish off by saying thank you so
Was that a
much
Furby, though?
to be a part of this.
Essentially?
And to be, you know, in the presence of such incredible games, and really just incredible international talent. Means a lot to a pretty stoked team from Toronto. So we hope to see you there. And
I think this might be our last one. Right? They said 8 games. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get. Was that? Oh, was that get? I'm gonna pause on this. Demos of all these selections at Tribeca film.com/games. Why not just do Tribeca Games? And like, which you can do. You can like. That was pretty cool. That was a solid conference. I'm bummed. I should have watched that 2 days ago or yesterday. Friday. Came out on Friday. It's now Sunday. 2 days ago when it came out. That's on me. Because that was 8 very interesting projects. Most of them I am intrigued by. I am intrigued by Signalis, which was introduced by Guillermo del Toro. It looked cool. It looked very slow and creepy and eldritchy, which was what they're going for. Kena Bridge of Spirits looks every time we see that game, it looks amazing. It looks like an animated movie come to life. And now that I know the background of the studio, that makes so much sense. Ember Games. Yeah, it looks beautiful, and I'm so excited. If I can get a PS5 before that comes out, I will be hyped because I would love to play that on PS5. If not, I could do it on my 4, but Norco looked cool. I like the Louisiana aesthetic. Harold Halibut, a stop motion or a 3D rendered stop motion esque mini set, looked different and interesting. And like I said, there's always something in games that stick with you. Very few games, it's the unique art style that sticks with you. For me, off the top of my head, Machinarium, Child of Light, the Paper Mario series, honestly, because that was such a different thing at the time. The first one in Thousand Year Door really stuck with me growing up because they had this completely unique and different art style. So I feel like games with that different aesthetic stick with you more. Return to Obra Dinn. Yeah. I think anything else that immediately jumps to mind. But games with varyingly odd or strange art aesthetic, I feel like always take up some real estate in my mind. Sable, we've gotten to see it 3 times now. And yeah, I want to see more. I'm gonna wait on Sable, but I like the idea of a purely exploration-driven game. Lost in Random looks great. I love the Burton-esque feel. I want to know more about when that's going to be coming out. The 12-minute time loop. What a cast! One great premise. I feel like 12 minutes between the start of each loop and the end of each loop is a good, concise amount of time for you to do different interactions, try and gather more information to try and solve this entirely story-driven puzzle, which I find fascinating. And just James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, Willem Dafoe. What a cast. 3 actors that I very much like. I am very much on board with that. And the big con, as a child of the 90s, that's when I grew up. My formative years were in the 90s, and it shaped my brain. Those were the shows she mentioned. I watched Hey Arnold. I watched Doug. They were a big part of my childhood, and I can absolutely see that the stylistic elements bleeding through. And I like the idea of a grift game, a non-violent, violent game. All right. I'm curious. I'm gonna do a quick check to see if we know anything about when these games are coming out. Let's see. So, Kena Bridge of Spirits is coming out August 24th. That is so. That's 2 months. That's so close. All right. What else do we got? Which ones was I gonna check out? Lost in Random. Lost in Random release date. It just says 2021, so that will be coming out this year. All right. 12 minutes. 2020. Will be published by Annapurna for Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X in 2021. So supposedly at some point this year, they were probably hit by the pandemic, same as everyone else. That's another Annapurna. I didn't realize that. Big Con 2021. It's also for Xbox One and Windows. All right. Harold Halibut. Release date 2019. I don't think so. But it's coming out for Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Windows. Ooh, I could see that being a fun Switch game or PS4 game. I assume it's going to be. I mean, we just saw a trailer in 2021. I don't think it's going to be coming out in 2019. Google, you need to update your information. Story trailer 2021. A lot of really cool artwork, so check out the Harold Halibut website. No real information about it. So probably this year or early next year is what I'll guess. Everything looks like it's coming out relatively soon, especially Kino, which does have a date, August 24th. So I am. That's the one I'm probably looking the most forward to. I'd say that's the one that most people are probably looking the most forward to, based on everything I've seen, all the hype I've seen for that game. Every time we see a trailer, the reaction is just so immensely positive. But that's where I'm gonna wrap it up for now, guys. I think we got a good amount of stuff later today. So I need to, eat breakfast and do a bunch of work. But I'll be back at 1 p.m. for the Xbox Bethesda showcase. Then 3:15 for Square Enix. 5:30 for the PC gaming show, and 7 p.m. for the Future Game Show. We got a lot. We got a lot of stuff. All right. That's it, guys. I will be seeing you. If you're watching this on Twitch, give me a follow. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Then go to Twitch and give me a follow. Just do it. So that's it, guys. I will be seeing you. Until next time.